There are many reasons why persons may want to stay in the Bahamas longer than what is allowed under your typical tourist visa. You may be a student looking to enroll in one of our local colleges, or perhaps you may be looking at living in the Bahamas after marrying one of our charming residents. For professionals and businessmen, the islands may be a good place to call your home away from home, close enough to major cities in the Western Hemisphere where you can simply travel to conduct business and return to the Bahamas within an hour or two. For these reasons, applying for a permit to reside in the Bahamas is a great way to facilitate residence on a year-to-year basis. Let's take a closer look at the entire process, starting right now. In recognition of its importance to promote its tourism product, the Bahamas government remains poised to keep formalities to a minimum in facilitating travel and residing in the archipelago for leisure purposes through its Permit to Reside initiative, which allows permit holders to travel to the islands as often as they wish and to reside within the archipelago consecutively on a yearly basis. This permit to reside is normally issued for 1 to 3 years in duration, but may be issued for up to 5 years under exceptional circumstances at the discretion of the Immigration Department. Presently, the Department of Immigration approves an average of some 12,678 permits to reside in the Bahamas since the 2012 year. Persons wishing to reside in the Bahamas on an annual basis may qualify under the following categories. Non-residents who are married to a Bahamian national for less than 5 years are qualified to apply for what is known as a spousal permit. This type of permit to reside is valid for up to 5 years, and at the end of its term, permit holders are eligible to apply for either permanent residency or even Bahamian citizenship. Now, the difference between spousal permits and other type of resident permits is that holders of spousal permits have the ability to both work and live in the Bahamas for the duration of the license. And unlike the standard long-term work permit where you can only work for the employer that has submitted the application, spousal permits allow the holder to work for anyone during its term. This is different from spouses or dependents of non-residents of the Bahamas that have been granted resident permits such as permanent residents and work permit holders. These persons are not eligible to apply for a spousal permit, unfortunately, but may apply for a permit to reside as an independent economic residence in order to facilitate their accommodations with their loved ones while in the islands. For these applications, there are no need to demonstrate being married for less than 5 years. Permit to reside applications as an independent economic resident refer to those persons who are interested in residing in the Bahamas for any other purpose other than employment. These applicants must demonstrate their ability to support themselves financially while residing in the Bahamas and must also demonstrate having either purchased or leased a residence within the jurisdiction. A financial reference is required from a reputable bank, verifying economic worth along with 2 written character references. Now, for this type of application, we find persons to come in a variety of backgrounds, such as frequent travelers to the Bahamas for either business or pleasure, who take advantage of the archipelago's location where many major cities in the Western Hemisphere can be accessed on an average of a 2 to 3 hour flight. Students who have enrolled in the country's expanding number of colleges throughout the Bahamas are also common applicants, as well as persons seeking medical treatment, and also, as mentioned previously, spouses or dependents of persons with some form of status here in the Bahamas. Annual homeowner cards are another type of permit to reside which applies to non-resident investors who have purchased vacation or second home properties here in the Bahamas. These permits are renewable annually and entitle the owner, along with any endorsed spouse and minor dependents traveling with the holder, to enter and remain in the islands for a stay of up to 1 year for the validity of the card. This initiative facilitates the ease of entry into the Bahamas with minimal formalities by eliminating the need for return traveling tickets, and proof of maintaining ability while in the jurisdiction. Now, under this category, proof of ownership of a residential property in the Bahamas and authorization under the International Persons Landholders Act is required as part of the application. Like any other matter involving applications to the Department of Immigration, it is important that you retain legal counsel that is familiar with these applications, as requirements will vary depending on the type of permit to reside you require. The obvious requirement you will need will be your vital identification documents, such as copies of your passport, police and medical certificates, and other documents supporting your application for the type of permit, such as copies of your marriage certificate for spousal permits or a lease agreement for independent economic residence. As always, certified copies of documents must be accompanied by an apostille or other legalization document, and all documents that are not in English are required to be accompanied by a certified translation. Should you have any further questions on this topic, please visit our website at www.lawyerlex.com.